Right now, I'm here with George Trevino, two guitar players, bass player, drummer, right?
That's correct.
And it looks like singer too, right? Or is it all together as one tie? George Trevino, Mando Tovar will also be with us, and then Jimmy Bell and Paul D. Leon. Is that the same lineup right now, or is there changes?
No, that's the same lineup.
Awesome. It's like I did my homework. George, what would be like an opening thing here to talk about the transition of the beating your band has taken in the years? You guys have survived some amazing stuff. I mean, we're looking at lineup changes from its thing. What is the driving force to make Las Cruces? What makes Las Cruces tick?
Well, basically, it's a lot of factors. I mean, we're all, first and foremost, we're fans of the genre. I mean, that's just a given. We all love it. Some of us are more into the doom, than others, but it all comes out, we're just metal fans. That's the number one thing. Second of all, it's just, we're wanting to do something that not everyone does, especially in this town. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that follow trends and just want to follow what's out there and make money and stuff, and that's never been our goal, especially mine. So, through the changes we've had, unfortunately, some members have left because of that. They're like, well, we need to make money and stuff. Well, that's fine. That's a valid point, but that's just not, that's not the whole picture for us. So as far as the members that we have now, which has been probably the most solidified lineup we've had, it's the same goal. We just want to jam and write music that we love and write music for our fans and anybody who's willing to listen to it and stuff. So I guess that's probably the biggest driving force for us.
No, that's excellent, George. And San Antonio is quite a music town. Texas is quite the music state. How does it go over there? Do you have lots of doomers that just love coming and just slamming? Let's go! I fucking slam us with some low tune and sounds and the power that we've seen. The power that we've heard. What we've heard, my wife and I, and parts of the show, we've heard some YouTube stuff of the group that's up now, and wow, super nice and heavy. Love it. What's the fans like in San Antonio for you then? And then when you're on the road, what's the response like?
Locally, it's great because we've been doing it for quite some time. That we've have our loyal fans that have been with us. Commercially, of course, not, around the Dallas area, of course, big doom area, it just depends, but out of state, we tend to see a lot more fans of doom, and our style of doom, I guess, especially East Coast. We've been there twice, and, the response is just great. So it just depends, I guess, but of course, the Texas fans, it's just, we just love to drink. So that's just a little more fuel to the mayhem, when Friday night rolls up and we got a couple shows in the weekend and everybody's, a little after sundown, everybody's by then pretty much peppered up. So it just gives us more fodder for us to just do it even better.
Killer, have you gone over, we're looking at a time period from, looks like a discography from 96 through, nowadays. And, 2011, and is it still Brain Ticket now, right, for you guys? What your plans are, Brain Ticket Records?
Our latest album is actually our third full-length album with Brain Ticket Records. We've had a great relationship with John Perez and his label.
Great.
I mean, if ever we had somebody in the label business, music business, that had our backs, it'd be John Perez. I mean, that guy's just awesome. And we're willing to work with Brain Ticket. That's what we would like. But unfortunately, we don't know what's in the future. But we'd love to continue working with Brain Ticket if Brain Ticket would have us. And would love to put another album, Las Cruces album. That would be just great. But if it doesn't, then we'll just shop it around and see what happens. Maybe go independent. Whatever we can do, to keep this machine rolling. That's our goal.
Cool. Do you guys fund yourself when you gas up, your vans and, your trailer or whatever? How does that go about? This is rough road dogging for those out there listening. rough road dogging. How does that go about?
As far as with us, the route we take basically is we just do a lot of shows. We do a lot of regional, local shows within Texas. Just play as many clubs as we can. We kind of burn ourselves out a little bit doing that, but that's our moneymaker to get ourselves out. Past the Texas borders, because Texas is so huge. We don't measure distance in miles. We measure in hours. That's how vast it is. So when you say, hey, we're going to leave Texas, okay, well, that could be about a 10-hour drive, maybe 8-hour drive or something like that. So you have to really, really, really save our money, work hard for maybe 3 to 4 months just to go out for maybe 2 weeks. I'll say 2 weeks, just to pay for gas and food and so forth. But that's how we do it. I mean, other bands, I'm not sure, I don't know any other way, actually. That's how we've always done it, so.
George, let's talk about some guitar things here with you guys. You're dueling guitars to you, and we'll get on to Mando, too. Do you like Mando's playing? Now you can mess with this guy right now. You can mess with your buddy in your band. Mando Tovar, lead guitar player. We're going to talk to him in a sec. George, what can you say about your buddy Mando on guitar? You guys are dueling brothers now, so you guys are cranking on your guitars together. What would you say about the two of you?
Well, boy, do you have about 2 hours? Because there's a lot I got to say about my brother here, man. I've known Mando for quite some time. Not too much personally, per se. We just know each other from the music scene, him being in another band and me being in another band, the Cruces. And actually, in '99, when we did I think a 5-week, 8-week tour we did for the Ringmaster album, actually I had asked him to join us to be the second guitar player, but at that time, he had other commitments and so forth, so that was a loss for us. But later down the road when we got together and actually started jamming, we actually were doing another project. We were doing a cover band, metal band covers, And I said, dude, why don't we just join Las Cruces, man? Let's get Las Cruces going again, and you be the other, the other half of the guitars, man. And let me tell you, man, I've not been disappointed, man. Ever since then, this guy was, big plus for the band and for me personally as a musician. I've learned a lot from him, and hopefully he's learned something from me. But I think the chemistry's there. I can tell you that. I mean, if I fall down, he picks me up. If he falls down, I pick him up. If we just fall down together, well, then we just crash out. Okay. After a few beers, hey, we just knock it out. Okay, we're done. But, it's just, I can't, there's nothing, I wouldn't want anyone else sharing the stage with me as far as guitars than this dude, man.
Let's go to Mando for a second here.
Absolutely. Let me get him on.
Cool.
Hello?
Mando Tovar.
Yes, sir.
It's Olson. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How's it going?
Very well. It's great to talk to you before meeting you next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun at the Days of the Doom Festival.
Really looking forward to it, man.
I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. Mando, you are the lead guitarist of
Yes,
Las
sir.
Cruces, and how do you feel about this? You having fun with this, and do you feel like you can enjoy it?
Oh, dude, we've been having a blast. I've been having a blast with this band since we started, man. I've been in several other bands before. That's how we all kind of knew each other from the scene and stuff. But this band that I've been with, man, so far we've taken it to levels that I've never been. And I'm really grateful for them, keeping me in mind when the reformation of the band was taking place, and I'm just glad they've kept me in mind. Even before, like George says, in the Ringmaster days and on that tour of the East Coast they were going to do, they had considered me on guitar, and we had talked about it before. Even before they had asked me. But at the time, I was playing in another band, and we had some obligations, with the record company we were working with. And, at that point, I'd been playing in Alienation of that band for about almost 10 years. So I kind of felt a little obligated to, stick with the boat I was in,
Cool.
And, but it was kind of weird because a couple of years later, after they came back from that tour and a couple of other tours they did, the everybody had to get back to the grind to do what they were, to get back to everyday life, and paying bills or whatever. And then they called me back, man, and that's when we were doing that lowest NDP around that time, and that fell apart that was just a couple of years. I would say maybe that was maybe 2.5 years of doing that, of writing the first half of Dusk, really.
Cross-Eyed Records.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the independent release that we did for Lowest End, and we at that point we really didn't know if we had any support, so we just decided to do it independently. And at that time we were starting to write the songs for the album Dusk, which just came out. But I mean, like I said, that was what 2000, maybe 2001, we started writing those songs, maybe got 4 to 5 songs finished, and then that kind of fell apart. And it was a hiatus of maybe 2 years, about 2.5 years. And I was without a phone for almost a year and a half, man. And every time I would go to my mom's house to do laundry, my mom's like, "Hey, this guy George keeps calling you." And there was only one George that would call me that I know. All the other Georges I knew were out of state or whatever, And so I was like, man, I knew it was George from Las Cruces, man. We could hang out, like I said, and he offered me a spot, with the band earlier. So when I finally, I told my mom, I said, dude, next time he calls, leave him my number, tell him to call me back next week. I'll be here for sure. So that phone tag was going on for about a year, dude. And I'm serious, it was weird. And finally, man, he called me on that day. I left a note for my mom to tell him to call me back. And the first question out of his mouth was like, "Dude, do you still have your gear?" And I was like, "Well, fuck yeah, I'm looking to do something, man. What's up?" And he was explaining to me that he wanted to do a cover band of early '80s, like the new wave of British metal,
yeah,
and Saxon, Accept, Maiden, all the early greats, and which we're all fans of, musically, musicianship wise, and all of that, influence. So I'm totally influenced by all that, and so are, the rest of the guys. But we were going to go do covers of that. And then once we started jamming, dude, there was a chemistry that we had that we kind of felt, and we're like, man, why are we playing other people's songs? We got, and then, we throw around some Las Cruces riffs just for shits, shits and grins once in a while. And every time we did, we were like, dude, man, maybe we should fucking get this going, And, all the fucking, all the bricks fell into place like Tetris, man, and we were on the way, man. It's kind of Mark Zamaron was popping in here and there because, like I said, we were all friends. It would all hang out at my drummer's house, and friends would come and go, and Mark would stop by, and he heard us playing some. Actually, when he was there, we were looking at each other like, dude, you want to do a Las Cruces song? And he was like, yeah, well, let's just knock it off. Let's have some fun. And we busted out what we knew. And we're all kind of looking at each other like, man, maybe we should get this thing going again. And sure as shit, man, within the next the next couple practices, we were already trying to figure out, well, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful. Thou art not so. Though soonest our best men with thee go, rest of their bones and souls delivered. But those thou dost thinkest thou dost overthrow die not put, nor canst thou kill me.
Mando, how would you sum up, what would you like to say about music these days, life? It's sort of your conclusion. It's like what you would say to the internet listeners out there on Metal Messiah Radio at this point.
To me, man, I mean, the whole industry's changed a lot. I mean, there's not, with the whole economy going on, it's kind of hard for those people that are trying to support the bands, especially with gas and stuff and touring and, you know, it's not like it used to be where they would, you know, invest some money for some tours or some, you know, even promotional departments, you know, and it seems like a lot of that is lacking. Not only that, but I mean, you know, time's never stopping for anybody. So we're all getting older by the second, and the music, you know, the times are changing. You go out to the, you know, there's young kids in the crowd, and that's great. I'm glad I'm seeing a, you know, younger, a Doom generation that's digging it. But at the same time, you know, whatever's on the radio is, to me, is just crap most of the time, you know, and I wish they, you know, would get. And at the same time, you know, it's kind of weird because when I was younger, you know, Slayer, Metallica, all the bands that I was into, the metal bands at that time, or, you know, even Trouble before that, you know, and you would never hear those songs on the radio unless it was like the metal hour, and that was like at midnight, you know, and nowadays, you know, all this new metal, it's like, it's just getting like shoved down our throats, but it's such crap that you can, you know, anybody that was a real metalhead could see right through this today. And I don't want to shit on the musicians that are, you know, into their art. It's just a different generation now. You know, they're brought up, they were brought up on Britney Spears and you know, and shit like that. That was like, you know, Limp Bizkit and all that crap that was around like maybe 10, 20 years ago. You know, and it's kind of weird to see it like that because we're already in, you know, 2011. But if you think about it, in '91, that was 20 years ago. You know, and it's just weird, man. I mean, you know, like I said, we're all getting older, and the times are changing, man. And the kids that are into the doom scene or the metal scene, they're I'm hearing this statement a lot, which I used to say, and was that I was born too late. You know. And I'm starting to hear the kids say that. You know, the kids that are like, you know, 25. You know, I call them kids, man, because when I was 25, I was like, fuck you, I'm 25. You know, I'm not a kid. You know, but when I think now and I see these 25-year-olds and they're saying, dude, you saw Anthrax in '86, or dude, you saw Metallica in '85, and I'm like, yeah, and they're like, dude, you're old. You know, and I'm like, well, you know, yeah, I am, but you know, and I can't change it. It's just, I just go with it. And, you know, there's moments that are discouraging, dude, but I'm not going to let that, you know, I'm not going to let that slow me down. Or, you know, if anybody gets discouraged, you know, just try to tell them, man, you know, we're not here to satisfy anybody else. I just want to do it to make the music that makes us happy, you know, that makes us, you know, feel good about playing it, you know, because it's kind of hard to get up on stage and play something that you're not really feeling, you know, or anywhere for that matter, you know. I mean, you don't want to put your name on a turd, you know. You know, I don't know. I guess that was a bad way to put it. But
Awesome, Mando. How about you, George? What would you like to say?
Keep it real. You know, just like Mando said, unfortunately nowadays, to me, the music industry has lost its way. It's all about, you know, making the big bucks, which in metal was, you know, the rare case. Thank God there were some that did, but sometimes you know, sacrifice integrity and lose the sound, lose your edge, and you know, I just say, you know, all the metal bands, whatever genre it may be, from Black Death, Doom, thrash, anything, just keep it real, you know, because that's what's keeping this genre alive. And I'm glad I see a resurgence. You know, I see it getting big again, but I want it to get big to the point where it stays, you know, underground, sort of, you know, or it's something that the bands are proud of, and not, well, you know, we went out and made an album, made some money, and we're done. You know, it's like, that's what I wish all musicians, because I mainly can only speak as a musician, is bands keep it real. You know, don't compromise. You know, don't compromise for whatever reason. If it's money, dude, you get a job. You know, be like the rest of us, have a day job and jam at night. You know, because unfortunately, like I said, that's the only thing that sometimes, you know, keeps a band going, man. Is just, you know, integrity. Let me reiterate that. Let me say, or let me rephrase that rather. Is that my opinion is, you know, keep it real. You know, don't lose touch with what metal is about, because it's about heart. You know, that's me. It's about heart. It's nothing about it. It's no money. It's not sex, drugs, and rock and roll, because you can have that without being in the band. Believe me. You know, it's about, hey, doing what you love and do it right. Do it for you and your fans. Don't do it for the suits. You know, don't do it for them.
All right, man. Great talking to you, George and Mando, man. You guys fucking rule, man. We'll talk to you again.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.
All right, later.
Take care, buddy. Bye.